What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and today we are trying Baker's 13. Now, we are going to drink this and kind of review it a little bit before we compare it to our Baker's 7 over here. Now, Baker's 7 comes in at $65 here in Pennsylvania. I believe MSRP on the 13, we don't have it here in Pennsylvania, but that's $130. So when companies put out these quote-unquote special releases or these higher age stated bottles and they put a price tag on it like $130, I always like to compare it to something that they put on the shelves regularly. Baker's 7 is something that I consider a sleeper pick. I love this bottle. I tell all of my friends to try this bottle. It's usually always around. You can get your hands on it. And again, it's $65. I don't think it breaks the bank. But let's pour this up. Let's try it. And then let's do it blind against Baker's 7 and see which one we like better. A couple of stats about this bottle. This is obviously Jim Beam. This is coming in at 77% corn, 13% rye, which leaves us with 10% malted barley. This is obviously a minimum age statement of 13 years, and this is, if you care, I like this little piece, by the way, that tells you the barrel number. This is barrel number 224734. I don't know why I said it like that. 224734. Again, aged 13 years, 107 proof. This is kind of cool. I like it. It says Baker's on one side. What does this side say? Release year, by the way, this is 2023. I don't know how long they've been doing this. We'll slide this out of the way for just a minute, clean up our table here, and let's get into this. Everybody knows before we get started, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. Kind of hot for 107. So let me start off by saying I am kind of a Jim Beam fanboy. I definitely don't love it as much as Wild Turkey, but when it comes to a lot of their releases, I love the Bookers, I love the Knob Creeks, I love the Old Granddads, I definitely love the Baker's 7, so I'm curious how much I love the Baker's 13, but I do like their product line a lot. I also like the fact that they aren't doing this big special release every 3 months. I gotta find another Jim Beam product, which is something that at this point in my whiskey drinking career has kind of just become more annoying than anything else. So I like what they're doing. They're sticking with the core, they're finding great barrels. They're putting out some different releases, but at the end of the day, they're not like super crazy hard to find. I don't know what these are going for right now on secondary, but obviously if my brother can get his hands on one, you probably can too. So if you can find one, I don't know. We'll find out if you should pick it up or not by the end of the video, but let's try this one more time. So that first sip definitely hit me a little bit harder, but that second sip calmed it down ever so slightly. I do think this drink's a little bit hot for 107 proof. It's almost like that barrel char of an ethanol, right? It's not really like a rye spice that I would confuse with ethanol, but it like brings out a lot of that barrel char. You get a lot of that oak. It almost tastes like, I don't know, if you like licked a piece of wood that just came out of the fire, like that type of char. That's the type of flavor profile that I get on this. And again, it gives it a little bit of that spiciness, that ethanol kick. It almost smells like you're sitting by a campfire just sitting next to this. Again, I don't nose too often, but there's a lot of barrel influence. And again, at 13 years, it's kind of what you expect. Knob Creek 12 year would be another fun one to put this up against because, again, we're talking Jim Beam, we're talking 12 year. And I think those run, they're not $130. Are they like $90, 75 to $90 for one of those? But does that have a different flavor profile in the Knob Creek lineup versus the Baker's lineup? I do think so. Baker's usually gives me a lot more of that peanutty flavor, a lot more to that Jim Beamness, if you know what I mean. But this bottle, not bad by any means, but I do think it drinks a little bit hot for 107 proof. The question is, would I pay $130 for this? And now that I've tried it, I got to be honest with you, I don't think I would. I don't think I would pick this up for $130. If I hadn't tried it and I saw it on the shelf at $130, would I pick it up? Probably, just because my curiosity is piqued. But at the end of the day, now that I had an opportunity to try it, I'm going to let this one go at $130. If I'm like out and it's on like a menu and it's one of the better options on the menu and they're selling it for a pretty decent price per pour, I might pick one up for that, but that's about it. I don't think I'm picking this bottle up at $130. And the reason we do single barrels rather than like our traditional Wednesday reviews is because everybody might get a different single barrel. So maybe your single barrel is a little bit better than mine. I don't know if there's no way. They obviously have to have more than 100. You get like 180 bottles in a barrel. So there's no way that, how many different barrels are released per year? That's a great question. Again, I have 224734. Let me know in the comment section what barrel you have if you have the 13. Do I think this is a bad whiskey by any means? I do not. Again, I just don't think, and we're going to blind these because proof is the same. The mash bill is the same. The only thing that's different about this is going to be the price point. So I'm curious which one of these I like better strictly off taste. And even if this, I don't think it's going to win, but even if it does, I don't think that it's going to be double the value of what I'm getting out of this. Again, it's cute that it has a 13-year age statement on it, but if you don't like the whiskey that's in it, it doesn't really matter what the age statement is, especially when you have something that's age stated at 7 years and is already good. And by the way, this is age stated at 7 years, but this is an 8-year, 8 months. So we're talking almost 9 years. So it's even closer than 7 to 13. It's like 9 to 13. So again, 65 to 130. It's just, I don't see the value on this side of things. But listen, there's only one way to find out which one we actually like better. We have glass, what do we use random ones today with our Great Whiskey Challenge. C, glass C, and glass F over here. So we're going to pour these up. We're going to switch them up so we don't know which one's which, and then we're going to try and figure out which one we like the best. We're not going to try and figure out which one we like the best. I'm going to tell you which one we like the best. Let's pour them up. Should be good enough. So here's the deal. I don't like to lie to you guys. I thought this was going to be a light thing. Maybe the lighting was a little off. This is the Baker's 13. We don't even have to do this blind. I'm going to tell you right now. This is the Baker's 13. You can tell by the glasses. I mean, it's just that much darker, which is crazy to think that it's that much darker. That means it should have that much more flavor behind it at 13 years compared to the 7 years, but there's only one way to find out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is the lighting, but I'm like 99% sure that that's the Baker 13. But we still got to figure out which one we like better when it comes to taste. Traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. That is really freaking good. It's going to be tough because everybody's going to be like, well, you knew which one was which, so why does it matter? This one is really, really good. I think it gives me everything that I love about Jim Beam. And at the end of the day, I think it drinks easier than this one over here, strictly because, again, I think that age is like pulling out more tannins, it's supposed to pull out more ethanol, right? Like it's supposed to taste less ethanol-y, but it doesn't when it comes to this glass over here, assuming, again, this is the 13 year. I've been surprised before, so anything goes here. I was thinking this glass was going to be quieter, right? It wasn't going to give me quite as much. It was going to make me search for those flavor profiles, but it just doesn't. It's all there. It's right up front in your face. I get that peanutty flavor. I almost get like a citrusy note on this as well. I get a lot of the spices, but they're warm spices. And then I don't get overwhelmed with the oak or any of the age statement on there, but it's still enough, right? It's still enough for my particular palate, especially with that sweetness. I think it balances out very well. I think the finish is forever on this. Granted, the finish on this one, I will say, now that I think about it, was a very long finish as well, which I do enjoy, but it's not the finish that I want. So like, just because it's a long finish, if it's a finish of oak and tannins that I don't like, doesn't mean maybe I don't want it to be a long finish at that point. Yeah, that one drinks hotter. That's kind of crazy. And the flavors aren't nearly as predominant in the glass as this one over here. So this is, I mean, I don't even have to finish these to tell you guys, quite honestly, I think this bottle is half the price and twice as good, personally. Now, again, maybe you've got a single barrel that you like, or maybe you just like this flavor profile. Maybe that's what you're gearing yourself towards more. You like those age statements and that type of flavor profile. But again, even if I took all of the age stated stuff out of this complexity wise, I'm not picking up nearly as many different flavors or as a complexity as a complex glass as I am over here. This glass is just giving me more of everything. All the stuff that's good in this glass is in this glass, and it's there. It's easier to find. I don't know. This isn't even close to me, to be quite honest. And they're both 107 proof, and this one drinks like, I don't know, 95 proof, and this one drinks like 115. So what are we talking about here? Have you had this? Are we excited about this particular bottle? Again, maybe 2023 just ain't the year for this. Is that a 2022 or 2023? No, it's a 2023. Maybe 2023, it just wasn't the year for it. I don't know. Baker's 7, just why would you even go anywhere else? It's the same thing that I say with Knob Creek, right? You have the Knob Creek 9, you have the Knob Creek 12, you have the Knob Creek 15, and you have the Knob Creek 18. The 15 is okay. The 18 is not good. The 12 year is just perfect. Why are we even bothered? 9 year has its place, right? People like the 9 year. I get it. But if you have something that's already so good, what do we do? Do they know it's not that good? and they're just trying to get more money out of a 4-year is 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 years difference. The price point is fair, right? People talk about $10 per year. So 130, it's a fair price point. It's just the whiskey isn't great, at least in this particular barrel. I don't know. This is supposed to be the best of 13-year Jim Beam. Knob Creek 12 is better, if you ask me. I'd almost be more interested to put this up against like a bad Booker's batch, to be quite honest with you. I mean, even Booker's, it's coming in at 129 proof, and it's $100. What? This is confusing to me. This right here, as far as value, is confusing to me. I get it. It's a cool look. It's the same look, differently. What are we talking about here? It's not close. I don't even need to finish this. This glass is better than this glass. Let's just, I mean, guys, I don't want to keep you here. This is C. Ready? I'll finish this one. I'll finish that one, but maybe not on video. This right here. That's a great glass of whiskey. What are we doing? What are we looking for? This just seems like another one of those instances where they're just putting out whiskey to put out whiskey at this point, right? Demand's high as far as the whiskey community goes. Everybody's looking for the next best thing. The problem becomes eventually people stop looking if you're not going to give them good whiskey. It takes 1, maybe 2 batches at most of putting out a bad product and calling under a certain line, right? Wild Turkey's Master's Keep. If you put out 2 in a row, maybe Master's Keeps has enough reputation to call it 3. But if you do 2 or 3 in a row that are subpar, especially as the price points go up, eventually people are going to stop buying that product. We see it with what's Triumph. They're trying to get rid of that stuff. I've seen 80% off prices on the shelves for this thing. I see buy a Russell's Reserve single barrel, get a Triumph for. It's just like they're going to eventually run out of people that are willing to overpay for mediocrity. And that's what I feel like I've got right here. And this is only the first time that I've seen it from Jim Beam. So I'm going to give them a pass on this one specifically. But I will say, in the future, if they continue to come out with like special releases or like the next Baker's 15 or something like that, I will have a little bit of hesitancy to go out and buy that, especially if that price point goes up again. This is not my favorite glass. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Again, barrel number for me, 224734. Let me know in the comment section which barrel you have and how you think it compares, because I guarantee if you have this, you should have this. And if you don't, go buy one and compare the two. Do it blind. Do it in blacked out Glens or something, because you can tell immediately off of the color. But that's where I'm going to leave you for today. This Baker's 13 is just not it when it comes to the price point. But listen, that's where I'm going to leave you for today. If you like this type of content, click that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. We're pushing 10,000 and I need your help to get there. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. Patreon and Discord, both those links in the description below. I have the greatest Patreon of all time, by the way. They just got me, because I'm having another baby girl this November. They got me this Knob Creek, speaking of which we could have compared these, but this Knob Creek was dumped on barreled on 10/21 of 2005, which is the due date of my daughter. And then they picked me up a straight from the barrel. We have the greatest Patreon community. I know a lot of other creators probably say that, but it's just not true for them, because I have the greatest one. The Bourbon Bombers, check us out. That link in the description below. Discord if you want to chat with us 24/7. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Stay healthy, stay happy, and stay skeptical. Just because it's a new release doesn't mean it's great. Cheers, y'all. All right, we'll finish it.